evening, Tamil Nadu government is expected to table a bill seeking exemption from the NEET exams. This bill is expected to be tabled in the assembly in the coming couple of days. NEET, as you know, has been vociferously opposed in the state of Tamil Nadu since its inception. And several other attempts have been made to get out of NEET, to boycott it, from raising it with the centre, to earlier also bringing in a similar law, to initially not even implementing it in the state until the Supreme Court stepped in and warned the state government to do so. There is a lot of resistance in Tamil Nadu, a lot of outrage, backlash on this common entrance exam for medical colleges because they claim it's a hindrance for students, especially those from economically backward and rural background, those who studied in government schools, in the state board, who are at a disadvantage when they compete with the rest of the India at this common entrance exam level. In February 2017, the state government at that time, which was the AIADMK government, had passed a similar bill seeking exemption from NEET. But the president at that time had withheld the consent for this exemption. And since then, it's also been a huge political topic. In July 2019, the centre told the High Court that they have rejected exemption bill in 2017. In June 2020, a 7.5% horizontal reservation ordinance was passed. And then in July 2021, a committee over NEET exams submitted its report to now the new government and the new Chief Minister M.K. Stalin. So as the Chief Minister took charge, he constituted this committee that looked into the matter and submitted its report, basis which now this bill has been brought in again. Now, if you're not aware of why this is such a big issue in Tamil Nadu, the arguments that are often presented include that students from rural areas are actually impacted because of this, that urban affluent students who have access to English speaking education in schools, who have the money to pay for private tutors and private coaching, have an advantage in this. High charges of private coaching centers, in fact, has been one of the big problems quoted, because obviously across the country, otherwise the situation is the same. Many aspirants in state of Tamil Nadu, many NEET aspirants have died by suicide, and every time there's been such an instance, obviously it's become a big story. Interestingly, this is one such issue where most political parties come together, especially the two leading parties, DMK and AIADMK. So tonight I want to talk about this bill. Tonight I want to talk about whether this is the right way to go. What is it that makes NEET such a huge problem only in the state of Tamil Nadu and in no other state? Will this resolve the problem? What happens to those seeking admission to the Tamil Nadu medical colleges from outside the state? What happens to those in Tamil Nadu who do want to go to a college outside of Tamil Nadu? What happens if more states actually look at this model and say, well, why should we be part of NEET? We will also give the students in our state the edge. We will also give the same arguments about language, about affordability, accessibility, and get out of NEET. Then is there any merit in having a national entrance exam, be it for engineering, be it for medical? These are some of the issues that I want to explore tonight in this conversation. So let's say good evening to Mr. V.A. Pugayandi, spokesperson for AIADMK, A. Sarvanan, spokesperson for DMK, Dr. Maran, educationist, joining me this evening, Dr. Jawahar Nissan, member of the Justice A.K. Rajan committee that was formed by the government to look into this issue, Kapil Gupta, CEO for NEETprep.com, also joining me. Let me first go across to Dr. Jawahar to help the rest of the country understand as well. What were the key findings of the committee, Dr. Jawahar? Why is it that NEET is such a big issue in Tamil Nadu and puts students of Tamil Nadu at a disadvantage?
Yeah, NEET actually, it is I would like to look at the examinations like high-stake psychometric examinations, entrance examinations like NEET into a few different dimensions which are very much important to the socio and the polity of this country in the first place. So, for instance, a common entrance examination, especially the high stake examination like this, should ensure few conditions. We have to see whether these conditions are met or not. Before I delve into the impact and the justification of the scrapping of the need in the state, I would like to touch upon certain conditions so that I can build up my arguments and justify why it is not needed in this country. Not only in Tamil Nadu, for the whole country, it is not warranted. Say, for instance, a common entrance examination has to address, conduct the examination, which is academically valid, and it must be based on biasless common standard core and criteria. I would establish it later. And second, it must predict the success of the students, the successful performance of the students in the higher studies in MBBS and PG and so on. And third, it must not warrant any prior coaching or training to pass in the examinations or to get entry into the medical admissions. And four, it must not cause any biasness to all walks of life, like regionally, urban versus rural and socio-economic status and other status, the regional status and other things, linguistic status as well. So in that way, these examinations like this should meet all these conditions. Our argument from the report, I can strongly suggest, I don't want to just reveal exactly what has appeared in the report, but I can disclose the arguments and the impact that the NEET has created in the state of Tamil Nadu in the medical education and the healthcare services as well. So considering all these 4 points, I would like to submit my viewpoints here that the NEET is against all these four criteria. It is not conducted based on a common standard core. Like for instance, SAT, Scholastic Assessment Test, is conducted in United States, and the UCAT, MCAT, and so many entrance examinations being held all around the world, all are based on some standard common core. Common, it is not a curriculum, I would say. It is a standard common core and criteria. Those common standard core and criteria have been used by those countries, not based on any syllabus or not based on any curriculum, but based on the ability, the academic ability and knowledge acquired by the students over a period of time. You take about the United States and UK, UCAT, all those examinations are based on that. So, but the NEET against this, NEET has a common curriculum. It is not a common curriculum. It has a curriculum which has inclination towards CBSE pattern. It is not in tune to the other state curriculum, secondary curriculum boards. So that means the number two, the NEET, in our assessment, we also have studied whether NEET has predicted, the performance of the students as selected during the admissions based on the NEET examination. Say, for instance, the NEET exam says that the scores obtained by the students ensure that this student is going to perform well in MBBS. Had they done or not, performed well or not? In our analysis, statistically, for the 4-5 years we have done, there was no such thing. And we were not able to find any indication that NEET has selected meritorious students, because we have compared the pre-NEET and post-NEET medical students' performance during their studies. There was no difference. In fact, in the second year and third year, the NEET students, when compared the performance of the students in the second year and third year MBBS, before NEET and after NEET, the before NEET students who were selected based on the higher secondary marks in Tamil Nadu had done at least 2% well compared to the NEET students.
Okay.
So
Now,
the
let me just
predictability
ask
is
you
gone.
this, Dr. Jawar.
Yeah.
Would you say that the same logic then should apply to other common entrance exams in our country? Is the problem largely with the way it's structured, whether it's CAT or GE or even the common engineering entrance exam then, or is it a specific to NEET problem?
Yeah, including if you look at the JEE exams, for instance, for IITs, it is also having the same biasness. It is also having the same biasness. It is based on CBSE pattern. So it rejects, it ignores the other state board curriculum. And it is not based on any standard common core. And it also has deprived the students coming from different walks of life, from urban and rural and only affluent communities and affluent students from all walks of life, whoever from different range of communities were able to enter IITs. And mainly one of those findings done earlier, about 40 years ago, also studied this in JEE. It found that the students from the urban communities who were able to get coached by premier coaching centers were able to get entry into IITs.
Okay,
So
let
it is
me
a discrimination.
Okay. I take the point that you're making, but let me also bring in Kapil on this as well. Kapil, what Dr. Jawahar is right now referring to, that's the model we see across the country. I mean, I grew up in North India, and I know from my era that everybody would start their private tuitions from the 9th, 10th, simply for entrance exams. Many don't even give importance to board exams. If that is the case, why don't we see similar opposition in other states? I mean, largely the problems to me sound as it would be in any other state.
Correct. So there are two things here. I think at one point, on one point, I agree with Dr. Jawahar when he says that the curriculum is not common. It might be a little bit biased towards students who are from CBSE. But the interesting thing is neither AIADMK nor DMK have talked about rationalizing this curriculum. The only thing they talk about is cancelling NEET exam. The second thing is when they say pre-NEET or post-NEET, if they have seen this movie called Three Idiots, and I can tell you, I am also from IIT Delhi, a lot of students get into medical, get into engineering colleges and figure out that their interest lies somewhere else. So anecdotally, you can't really compare what was the performance in NEET and what was the performance in medical college. NEET fundamentally solves the problem that there was a lot of corruption that was going on in private medical colleges pre-NEET. Supreme Court took cognizance of it in 2016, constituted this exam and said that even medical colleges, you can't take admission without having a NEET score. And anecdotally, there is enough evidence that that corruption has come down. So the thing is, there is a problem that the curriculum might be biased towards CBSE students, but the solution, it seems, is only cancel NEET. Why not cancel JEE as well? And what is the alternative? Is it only a problem with Tamil Nadu students that there are rich students and poor students? And this is not a problem in Uttar Pradesh, in Bihar, in Karnataka, in Andhra Pradesh. So it doesn't stand the test. It seems that it plays to a certain gallery. There are you want to make noise about something which you would never be able to deliver on. This time NEET exam is on 12th September. Before that, students are in high tension. Whip up the passions. Blow the dog whistle, and people are going to become hyper, and they will always remember that DMK stood up for the student. But ultimately, it's not helping the students at all. This noise has been going on for 5 years. Absolutely nothing has happened. Rationalize the curriculum, but what has it got to do with conducting a common entrance exam like NEET?
Okay, Dr. Jawahar, I know you want to respond to it because he specifically spoke about your argument. So I'll come to you before I go to the other three panelists. Yes.
Yeah, there are a couple of points, madam. One point, he said that what is the need for the students, to show the, to predict the performance in higher studies based on the NEET examinations or common entrance examination. For that question, I would like to respond. Actually, this SAT kind of examinations, like SAT, this has been in practice for 100 years in United States, and it is one of the modern, refined highly tested examinations, high-stake examination in the world, not only in India. And one of the conditions that they wanted to ensure to the world is that we are conducting entrance examinations only to show that it predicts that we are choosing the best meritorious, or I don't want to use the word meritorious, merit, but the best qualified students.
People who have an students
That
who
is
have
the
the
aim. That is
aptitude
the
for
aim.
students who have
That
the
is the
aptitude for what they're choosing to study next. That's essentially
not
what
just
it judges.
No, not just only the aptitude, whether it is knowledge or aptitude or attitude or behavior, because these are all the collection of all these issues on which common entrance examinations are held for medical admissions all around the world. But what my point is that whatever the method you use, whether it is NEET or higher secondary examinations, whatever, it should be able to predict the performance of the students during their higher studies, because it guarantees that we are selecting the students, the best students, to successfully perform MBBS.
Okay.
So this is the purpose. And that purpose, on that purpose, we found that it did not justify in our analysis. We have more than 80 pages analysis, scientific analysis. We proved in the report that it did not, NEET did not. Another point is that he says that whether this is a problem only related to Tamil Nadu or not for Uttar Pradesh and other states. I would like to quote one very minor but a major impact analysis that we have done in our analysis is that it is not just only limited to admissions I'm talking about. Our analysis, our report was going beyond it, and we also came out with assessment on the healthcare sector. In the healthcare sector, the public, especially the public healthcare sector, the NEET has damaged Tamil Nadu public healthcare sector.
Yes, you've
in
raised
a major way.
I know what you're referring to, Dr. Jawahar. If you will just allow me to come back to you on that point, because it's a very interesting angle and aspect that has also an argument that's been made. So I want to give it some more time, and I will come back to discuss that. But I'm going to take this across to Sarvanan now. Sarvanan, basis, if I look at the statistics of what percentage of students qualify for NEET from every state, and I'm sure you know that Tamil Nadu is actually much higher than the national average of those who are qualifying. Tamil Nadu is higher than many of the Hindi-speaking states, even states like Maharashtra, where you see a big number of people applying for engineering or even medical. Then why is it that Tamil Nadu sees this as a bigger problem? Only Tamil Nadu sees it as a problem.
Yeah, Tanvi, I'm getting to all your questions. See, first and foremost, NEET is not just an issue with regard to how students get admitted. This is a political issue. The union government, the BJP, wants to arrogate to itself all the powers of the state government. It does not want the state governments to exercise the powers that they have been conferred by the constitution. It is anti-federal. NEET is anti-federal. It is against social justice. The state governments have the power to admit students, but the central government says, no, we have to have a common entrance examination so that the merit of the persons who are entering into the schools and the colleges, medical colleges, will improve. And rightly pointed out by Mr. Jawahar, there is no such correlation. The BJP does not want the states to decide what they want to do.
But this
the BJP, ever since it has come to power.
But there has been Supreme Court intervention on it. Why are you blaming just the BJP? The Supreme Court has told the state government of Tamil Nadu to go ahead and do this.
Yes, Tanvi, the Supreme Court has said that. The central government, the BJP government, has not done everything what the Supreme Court has said. The Supreme Court has said, don't allow Jallikattu. The central government gave permission to Jallikattu. And Supreme Court said reservation should not go beyond 50%. The central government, the union BJP went ahead and created extra 10% reservation for the EWS quota. From where will they get this 10%? It is directly against the Supreme Court judgment, and the High Court has confirmed it. When the union government wants to do things, when it is convenient against the Supreme Court judgment, see, the judgment of the Supreme Court and the policy-making power, the legislatures occupy a different spheres. One cannot override the other.
Okay.
If this is what the government wants, if this is going to be the policy of the government, if the Supreme Court says if you have need, it is well and good, the government has to take a call. It is because of the amendment brought in by the BJP, NEET is in existence right now. If not for that, NEET would not be in existence. The Supreme Court may say so. Several things the Supreme Court has said. Has the union government followed everything?
Okay.
They have not. Yeah,
But,
so that
sir,
is one argument, Tanvi. Again, coming to the other issues. See, why TN opposes NEET? TN opposes NEET because the GER, that is the gross enrollment ratio in the state, is much higher. It is double the national average. So there are more students who are coming out of college schools to join colleges in the state of Tamil Nadu. And there are less dropouts when compared nationally. So we have a more number of students. So there is awareness. Everybody wants to become a doctor or an engineer. So far, they were able to, their dreams to become a doctor or an engineer. Doctor, so far, doctor has been successful. If they know, if they work hard, if they do well in their plus 2 examinations, they'll be guaranteed a government seat without paying any money. This is the driving force for them to study well. But now that is taken off. The government students, all the other students who are not able to afford coaching classes. See, let it be G, let it be any standardized entrance examination, standardized test, without an entrance examination, without a coaching class, will they have joined 99% of G aspirants, 99% of NEET aspirants? All of them have underwent coaching classes.
Correct.
So what?
But that's
why
across
are
the
we,
country.
Why are we feeding this coaching lobby
You
across
are-
the
you are-
country, across the world? Why
Okay.
are we feeding this coaching lobby? I want to ask Mr. Kapil, did he undergo a coaching, a private coaching to join IIT, or he joined out of just preparing by himself?
I did. No,
Very
I
good.
did.
Very good, sir. Very good. So
I did.
You are,
And way
yes,
back in
very good.
1997. Way back in
Yes,
1997.
Very good.
And
Can
the
we
thing
say?
is, I can guarantee any of the panelists
Yes.
who's sitting here,
Yes.
any of the panelists who's sitting here would not let their kid appear for NEET or JEE without coaching, because at the end of the day, you have 40,000 seats for 16 lakh aspirants.
Yes, I'm coming to
what
it.
are you going
I'm
to do
coming to
about
that,
it?
sir. I'm coming to that, sir. I'm coming to that. Yeah. See, 1997, probably there were no coaching classes. But right now, what is the situation?
I went
Why?
through one.
No,
Why are
Saravanan,
we-
I think
see,
you've misunderstood.
yeah.
What Kapil is
No,
saying
no,
is
no, no.
exactly that even in 1997 there were coaching classes. Pre-NEET also there were coaching classes. Coaching
No,
classes
no.
for entrance examinations across the board, whatever be the format, have been, and it's a badly structured system, granted.
Yeah,
But who's
yeah.
fixing the system? That is the
Yes,
question.
I'm coming to that.
Yeah.
Just a minute, Tanvi, I'll finish this.
Yeah.
See, another point I want to rebut is this, that the corruption in medical colleges have come down because of introduction of NEET.
Yes.
In fact, they have legalized that corruption. This NEET has legalized the corruption. What has happened is, earlier, the fee structure for the management quota and the government quota seats would be 10 lakhs. Now, every medical college is charging around 30 to 40 lakhs. Every year for every student who does not go under the government quota. Earlier, they would be paying around 5 lakhs or 10 lakhs. So they have legalized this corruption. The corruption has not gone away. And meritorious students, when the people who cannot afford to pay this money, they are not joining the courses. So what happens? The person who has scored less marks, when we say NEET is meritorious, let us say that person who has scored a less mark, a little less mark than this earlier person who has got the seat, will get accommodated in the college. So where is merit here?
Okay, one by one. Where is the merit here?
All about
it is still merit.
institutionalizing corruption.
Okay, it is still merit, because the people work hard and study to give these exams as well. Whether they go to tuitions or not is a different factor. Just because you've paid money to a tutor doesn't mean that your merit goes away. And the problem that you have of affordability ideally should be there in most states, but you say it's higher in Tamil Nadu because higher number of applicants come from Tamil Nadu. Okay, let's take it point by point. I want to then take this point across to Dr. Maran. Dr. Maran, often the argument that is given is that this is the NEET format is more tuned for CBSE students. Then how is it that even now we see Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu actually outperforming many of the other North Indian states who are allegedly are more suitable for NEET? So, I mean, that example, that argument doesn't hold value. Otherwise, Kerala and Karnataka should also be up in arms, and so should Telangana and Andhra.
Yes, I think when you have more intellectual, the way of thinking, the way of decision making is something different. The way of analyzing the problem is different. So in this context, why our government and the entire Tamil Nadu against this NEET examination, the first aspect, whether there is any justice in this Indian education curriculum. How many curriculum systems which are in India? ICSE, IGSE, CBSE, state board matriculations, and every state they are taught in their own mother tongue. So in these great critical situations, how students would be able to preparing the common entrance examinations? This is one of the major obstacles for our students, not only for the Tamil Nadu students. Just I would like to share one small views. Take for instance Maharashtra or Bihar. How many of the Bihar rural students, the government school students got seats in government colleges or the private medical colleges? Can you give any statistics? Which is not possible. Only those who are affordable, those who are studied in CBSE or any other ICSE, the students only getting that opportunities to entering into the medical college, medical aspirants. This is one of the major obstacles. And one more information, I think Mr. Kapil was telling about the entrance examination and other things. So last year in Tamil Nadu, out of 381 students admitted in government colleges, only 48 students were not appeared in particular coaching center. The rest of the all students appeared. Rest of the all students trained by the coaching center. This is the statistics.
But Dr. Maran, that's everywhere. Why does Tamil Nadu feel it's the odd one out? Dr. Maran, that's a statistic everywhere. No aspirant in any part of the country is giving these exams without going to coaching.
I'm coming to the point. The coaching class in the sense, how much amount they are charging, how many coaching centers are there? Right. I think the coaching centers, every students paying more than a lakh.
Yes.
I think who are affordable? The education is equal to everyone. When you are talking about the rural areas, suburban areas, socially backward, economically backward, is it possible to send their students or their ward to take coaching? Is it possible? Which is not possible. So that's what we are insisting only. The +2 examination mark is one of the most important criteria. No need to follow that entrance examinations. Even I would like to emphasize one more important information. You see the present doctors, the COVID-19, not only in Tamil Nadu, the entire India, how many of them doctors appeared entrance examinations? Whether they are performing well or not? Why need to insisting that entrance examinations? Right. All of them not appeared in entrance examinations.
So I think the point that you and both, I think the point that you, Dr. Maran and Dr. Jawahar are making are larger points of how the current model of entrance exams is not a good model for the entire country. Yes. My only point is, why are we only hearing this voice coming from Tamil Nadu and not the rest of the country? Then this should be a national conversation.
I can appreciate, I can do it. That. When you are equalize your education systems in India, I think only one education system. In Tamil Nadu, there are so many educations. Kerala, so many educations. Why the Tamil Nadu only against it? Don't think we are not against it.
You are saying, if you are saying make a uniform education system, again the same states, Dr. Maran, if you say you make a uniform education system, again the same states will stand up and say, no, we will decide what kind of an education system we want. How can the center decide it? The state wants to decide it. The state wants to decide on the language. The state wants to decide on a curriculum. And then the state says, oh, our students are at a disadvantage because our curriculum is not good enough.
No, why? What I'm saying, you are aspirant only to conduct the examination. In the sense, you can hand out that responsibility to the state government. The state government has to conduct as per their syllabus. I think the Tamil Nadu syllabus is something different, the Kerala syllabus is something different, the IGS is something different. Why we need to insist all our people?
Okay.
How many of the government schools students are got seats? No, only the single-digit students for the past 4 years. After NEET examinations, our rural students, the government school students, most of the students lost their opportunities. Lost their opportunity. More than 2,000 medical aspiration students lost their career. lost their careers.
That
That's what
would
we are asking.
okay. That would be true for rural parts of any part of this country. I am just saying, then there needs to be a larger conversation on what the system is. Why is it that certain state boards are not on the same levels or inferior
Yes.
to the levels of several other state boards or national
Madam,
boards?
the system-
Why is it that
madam,
the
the
international boards and CBSE boards are at a different level? Why is it that we insist on bringing the level down and protecting the children rather than saying let's make it uniform and prepare them better for their future? The same students who go into colleges in Maharashtra or Tamil Nadu or Uttar Pradesh will have to tomorrow compete with each other in the same private sector world. And at some point, we have to start looking at our education system and saying, is our education system preparing them for it? Are we actually giving them the right education? Have we attempted to, Mr. Pugayendi, rationalize our school education syllabus? Have we attempted to rationalize that curriculum to say, let's put it on par with the national level?
The old system, selecting the students by the state entrance was very good. Comparative NEET. The first thing. The second thing is, why this union government forcing now? That our Saravanan mentioned very clear. Another doctor also mentioning. So very clearly I am saying, why this union government forcing? We are state government not interested. Kind information throughout the world. That is a very good doctors are there. Before the NEET, they selected through the school examination. That's the PCB, physics, chemistry, biology board system. They are all working. Throughout the world, they are getting award and everything. So what is the necessary? They brought this and they are looting the private colleges, taking more money now through this and no control, nothing. This is the thing going on. So our students not able to compete with CBSE syllabus, madam. There's the previous government, ADMK government, or present government, DMK government. I'm clearly mentioning that as a former spokesperson of the party, ADMK, this is not a correct way. But compulsorily they are forcing. Once the Honorable Supreme Court stated this.
No, Mr. Pugayendi, my question to you is very simple. My question to you is, if you say that students in Tamil Nadu are not on the same level as CBSE, have you tried to, in the 10 years of the AIADMK tenure, try to rationalize it? I'm not saying one is superior or inferior, please don't get me wrong. But if we are to say that everybody should be given similar curriculum and similar kind of education so that they can compete with each other when they reach the entrance exam level, did we try to make those changes to the curriculum? Did you try to provide affordable tuition services to those who couldn't afford it? Provide it to them. Please teach them. Please help them prepare for these entrance exams rather than saying, no, we won't have the entrance exam.
Why? I'm asking the question, what is the necessary, you tell me? That's the 10th standard, another +2, 3 years, the hardly studying the students, the scoring the mark, 98%, 99%, 100%, the later the state entrance board examination, you have so many things are there. What is the necessary, brought this, unnecessarily torturing the students? What is the necessary, you tell me, you explain me first.
Okay, yes. Kapil, do you want to explain this? The argument is, why is it important to have this entrance exam? For example, if we have to say a large percentage of students in Tamil Nadu would study in colleges in Tamil Nadu and take up a job in the medical colleges or hospitals, government centers in the state of Tamil Nadu. Why do they have to go through the added pressure of preparing for this entrance exam then?
That's one point.
One minute. Let me get Kapil Gupta to respond to your question, Mr. Pugayendi. 1 minute, please. Kapil.
The past 3 years, only the...
So, Tanvi, actually,
now 14 students. That last year only, horizontally the reservation, through the reservation, 400 seats filled. 7.5 through the reservation quota. See, before that 3 years, only 14 seats. Only 14 seats. Why this torture, you tell me? That is the thing, torturing going on.
Okay. Yes, Kapil.
So, Tanvi, actually the problem is very simple.
Yeah.
If you go back to why Supreme Court instituted this exam, a very simple answer to that question is, check out states Karnataka. Why does the most powerful politician there wants to have medical education portfolio? Why does the big corruption that happened 2 years back involved some of the biggest ministers in the previous government in Karnataka, because private medical education is big business, and NEET has curtailed all of it. Someone was saying that fees has gone up. Absolutely, fees has gone up, because earlier you would pay 5 lakh tuition and 1.5 crore under the table. Instead of that, you are paying 15 lakh rupees per year and getting admission into a private medical college rather than giving it under the table. So all the thing is gone away, and that is why there needs to be a central exam. This was the reason why Supreme Court instituted in the first place. I again want to go back to Dr. Jawahar. The points he has made are very very valid. The only thing is there should be a discussion about rationalization of the curriculum.
Yes. Yes.
Make it compatible to what is there around the world. But everything else is just, in my mind, politics. Make noise, exam is on 12th September, give students false hope, and then you know very well absolutely nothing is going to happen about it.
Okay. You have made 2 points that I do want to take up. The first argument that you made is about the reasons behind the Supreme Court order. Now, without getting into who is corrupt and who is not, let's just talk about the reality in states like Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, several other states, even in North India. Dr. Jawahar, is it true or not that many of these big universities and medical colleges are in one way or the other controlled by politicians, owned by politicians, and the politicians were the biggest beneficiaries of the huge money that was being minted from these places?
Yes. See, before answering this, I would like to address some of the issues highlighted by our colleagues here. Say, you first, we are building up these arguments based on the assumption that CBSE is better than or superior, or it has better curriculum than any other state.
No, we are not. No, we are not. I specified that. It's not to say one is superior or better than the other. But if the argument is that they are different, should we not try to standardize the curriculum?
That is what I am coming to.
Yes.
So we go into that way also, standardizing the curriculum.
Yes.
See, education is basically society driven. It must reflect the regional flavors and the societal aspects and social evolutions, transformations then and there in contemporary times should be reflected in the curriculum. See, India is a very great, diverse country with a variety of, resources in terms of our evolutions and richness in our knowledge. We have to exploit all those things in our curriculum. So if you standardize this, and most of the richness that we have inherited traditionally for a long time would be avoided. So that means that education has to be devolved and there shall not be any common curriculum. That is the fundamental philosophy of education.
But science and mathematics is very different, Dr. Jawahar. I am not talking about going into the arts and culture and history or even literature. Obviously, literature will be very, very specific to that region if you want to emphasize on it, or even history. But science and mathematics is a different ballgame altogether.
No, science and mathematics has relevance to society. You see, it is not just 1 + 1 = 2. See, in United States, I will just tell you the fact. It has 50 states. There is no common curriculum. Even within the state, there is no common curriculum. You take our neighbor, China, who is 1.4. You see, they have. No. They have entrance exam, but they did not make it mandatory. You must understand. They did not make it mandatory. They have asked all the provinces.
Without writing MCAT.
Yes, without, but it is only a part of the game in the admission process. It is not solely exclusively based on entrance examination in China. It is a part of the game. It is constituting only a part of the evaluation process in the admission. And they take higher secondary exams, marks, and they also take, they also give some privileges to the universities to hold their own assessment, like interviews on the social aspects. There are so much of variety of complex issues are considered in the admissions in China as well.
Okay.
Even though the examination is mandatory.
So let me say,
country.
Yes, let me say I take you. Okay, you've made one point which is about how it cannot be standardized. The second aspect you haven't answered yet, Dr. Jawahar. Was there or was there not an issue of politicians running the biggest of the educational institutions and minting money off it, because of which this system was brought in?
Yeah.
It is
Tanvi,
not-
I'll answer that.
I
Tanvi,
would
I'll
like
answer
to
that question.
1 minute, Saravanan, I'm coming to you. Yes.
Yes, actually, this is not an issue related to politicians. Of course, they are making money, or they have institutions, and our Gupta, our friend, said that they are the NEET has non-commercialized and made it affordable to all walks of life. It is not true, and the politicians are
No, I did
having
not say affordable. I said
institutions
above the
across the
table.
country. Pardon? Yeah, you see, it has increased. It has, in fact, increased the amount they levy as a fees for medical, programs. Instead of just taking, as you said, that as a capitation fee, now they are charging the 1.5 crore or 1.25 crore as a fees. So what? You have now legalized this commercialization.
Okay, so you're saying
and
you've
that is what
legitimized.
happening now.
You have not gotten rid of the problem. The problem has now just been legitimized, and now the same money is being given on paper. Is that what you wanted to say, Saravanan?
Yes, that is what
Yeah,
happening.
that is the thing. Yeah, that is what I wanted to say. And I also wanted to add that you wanted to avoid corruption. There are different ways to it, not by bringing NEET and putting millions of students under a spot.
Okay, now I just have one last question, and Dr. Maran, to you, and then Saravanan can come in on this. The other argument is bringing a bill that says we are seeking exemption, Dr. Maran, going to solve anything on ground? There was a similar legislation that was brought in 27. Is this not simply another political attempt to get some brownie points from the students and their families and everybody else who's opposing it? Will it change anything? Unless you go back to the Supreme Court, or you challenge the entire NEET itself and convince the court, because the central government will again not approve this bill.
Yeah. So what I'm saying, as per our Honorable Chief Minister promised to our Tamil Nadu people, now they are trying. Definitely the boss, definitely they will succeed in this great war. This is one thing. And one more information, you said, because mathematics and science is a common subject. So when mathematics and science is a common subject, why need to conduct one more entrance examination? According their curriculums, according their programs, what marks they have scored, you can appreciate, you can admit the students. This is one answer for you. And one more information, today you are talking about politicians or all these things. Suppose if they are introduced the NEET examinations, when you are admitting students through the NEET, how many medical colleges, the corrupted colleges closed in India? How many of them, so what are we not at? Same thing. Now, earlier they got into capitations. Now, today they are getting only every year tuition fees, EMI.
Okay.
Equity, monthly installment. This is happening.
So, you say, why do you need an entrance exam? Why can't you use the class 12 score? Will it not lead to another battle? Will it not? I'm simply not looking at just saying that a student in Chennai goes to a college somewhere in Tamil Nadu. I'm looking at a pan-India situation where a student in Chennai may want to go to an AIIMS in Delhi, or where a student in Uttar Pradesh may want to come and study in SRM or Anna University in Tamil Nadu. Now tell me, when there is so much of disagreement, Dr. Maran, about each of the boards, and some boards are easier, some boards are harder. Allow me to finish my question, Doctor. Allow me to finish my question. Allow me to finish my question, Dr. Maran.
The Tamil Nadu students have to get a benefit. So first of all, the Tamil Nadu students have to get a benefit. Who are the infrastructure? Who are the spend more amount? only the Tamil Nadu government. So we have more than 5,000 MBBS seats.
I'm
in
sorry, I
India.
disagree with you. If every state starts thinking only about the students in their state and shutting their doors to people from outside their states, then why are we existing as a country at all? The idea of having a common entrance exam is because individual states have different state boards. Each state board has a different curriculum. How can you judge people who are performing in class 12th in one state board versus the other without putting them on the same platform? The idea of bringing a common entrance exam was to judge them on the same platform, was to give them one same question paper and say, let's see who are the top 50 of you who can make it to these colleges. Now, if everybody who today opposes NEET, and the solution is not to say seek exemption or do away with common entrance exams. The solution is to say improve your education standards. Standardize your education standards. Bring in a system that makes it equal opportunity and access for all. The solution is not to say don't have any common entrance exams, draw boundaries, state boundaries, district boundaries, board boundaries, language boundaries to divide students when it comes to education. In our country, no matter in which part of the country you are, you should have equal opportunity to study wherever you want in your choice of board, college, language, course, career, whatever. If there are disparities in the curriculum, those need to be fixed. If there are disparities in the way question papers are designed, which puts one set of students at a disadvantage and the others, those needs to be fixed. If there are disparities in terms of access to affordable education, private tuition versus government schools, the governments need to stand up and support the students studying in government schools. Provide them those services as well. We have to collectively find out how do we judge everybody on those common entrance exam levels so that they can then choose which school they have to go to and weed out corruption. But if you're simply going to make noise, come up with a bill that doesn't go anywhere, doesn't even become a reality, then it just sounds like more and more and more of politics. Of course, there is a big problem with the curriculum that we have in our country. Of course, there is a big problem with the education setup and the entrance exams. How many students die by suicide in our country in the run-up to board exams, in the run-up to the entrance exams? It's not unique to one state. It's not even unique to one kind of entrance exam. From IIT, JEE to engineering entrance exams to even NEET. And across states, this is a problem. But the solution cannot be to make it political, cannot be to say, oh, center wants to have control over our colleges, our entrance exams because, well, it's BJP and they are doing this against Tamil Nadu. Don't politicize the issue. Find solutions which benefit the students in the long term. Think of it like an entire country, not state by state. Thank you for joining us on this conversation.